Is there such a thing as a toxic culture in the locker room? It can be. It can be, especially when you're losing and you're not around a lot of veterans and people who understand that there might come time in the season where you might lose and how to handle it. It can get toxic. And I've been in some toxic situations, but not too bad.
Let real. I never heard of this story though.
What did he say? What did you say?
Stop acting like a bitch. That's it.
All right.
I mean,
I said that, man, and I got kicked off the Lakers, so I know how you feel, nigga.
I got big.
Dwight Howard is finally opening up about what really went down behind the scenes during his time with LeBron James and the Lakers. And now NBA fans are losing their minds trying to piece everything together. Because for years, people looked at that Lakers roster on paper and couldn't understand how it fell apart the way it did. You had LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard, and Rajon Rondo, a locker room full of proven veterans who had seen everything in basketball. But instead of dominating the league, that team completely unraveled under pressure. And now Dwight is hinting that the real issues inside that locker room ran way deeper than anyone realized. The biggest thing grabbing attention right now is Dwight admitting that the energy around the team just felt off from the start. And when you look back at everything that season, it honestly starts to make more sense. Because from day one, the Lakers never looked fully connected. They looked tense, they looked frustrated. Every loss felt heavier than it should have, and every post-game interview sounded like players were carefully choosing their words, hiding what was really happening behind closed doors.
Ego to people on the outside when they see like a DeMarcus in the locker room mad at his teammates or something, or say, hey, y'all gotta step it up. They might take that as.
What makes Dwight's comments hit even harder is that he's played alongside multiple superstar personalities throughout his career. Kobe Bryant, James Harden, Steve Nash, LeBron James, Anthony Davis. He's seen completely different locker room cultures at the highest level. So when a veteran like Dwight says the chemistry felt off, fans instantly start questioning how deep the internal issues really went. And this isn't just random online speculation either. Dwight has previously spoken publicly about tension involving LeBron. Recently, he even revealed there was a moment he confronted LeBron during a game about getting back on defense. And according to Dwight, that single moment shifted everything between them. Fans quickly connected that story to the bigger collapse of that Lakers team, especially since leadership concerns were always in the background. Because during that whole stretch, the Lakers kept presenting a polished version of reality to the media. LeBron talked about patience, AD focused on injuries, coaches emphasized rotations and consistency. But on the floor, the body language told a completely different story. Players looked frustrated with each other night after night. Defensive effort disappeared at key moments. Mistakes were followed by visible irritation instead of communication. And now, Dwight's perspective is basically reinforcing what many fans already suspected, that the locker room energy never truly felt stable.
I'm pretty sure he does. And I'm pretty sure he did. We'll never know if it was something personal or it was just, they're moving in a different direction. I don't think we'll ever really get a true and honest answer.
Have you asked LeBron directly? Have you ever had a chance to ask him?
I haven't asked.
Here's the part nobody is really talking about. Championship locker rooms can have tension, but they also have trust. The issue with those Lakers squads is that the trust was never fully locked in. From the jump, a lot of players looked unsure of their roles. One night, Dwight was getting real minute. The next night, he barely saw the floor. Russell Westbrook looked uncomfortable in the offense almost immediately. Carmelo Anthony ended up shifting into more of a spot-up role instead of being a true scoring threat. And the younger role players looked like they were playing scared, knowing every mistake would be magnified. That kind of environment builds pressure fast. And when you mix that pressure with aging stars, non-stop media attention, and championship expectations, every small disagreement starts feeling huge. Dwight's comments about something feeling off start to make a lot more sense when you remember how chaotic that season really was emotionally. The Lakers were supposed to be contenders, but by mid-season, people were already questioning if the team even enjoyed playing together. One thing about Dwight is that he's always been brutally honest about locker room energy. Sometimes that honesty gets him criticized, but it also makes people pay attention when he speaks. Years ago, he talked about feeling misunderstood at different stages of his career. He's also explained how narratives about him spread quickly and how outsiders often misunderstand what's really happening inside a locker room. So when Dwight says something felt off inside that Lakers environment, people take it seriously because he's seen both healthy and dysfunctional NBA locker rooms up close.
What I was told was that you guys didn't have an offer for me.
Oh, no, that's not true. We made an offer.
I never even knew that. He told me, well, actually, he said that you guys had an offer, and then he said you guys took the offer back and said no.
And let's be real for a second. LeBron-led teams have always carried massive pressure. That's just part of being one of the biggest names in sports history. Every possession gets broken down, every teammate gets evaluated, every loss turns into a headline. Some guys thrive in that kind of environment. Others slowly start to break under it. Dwight is basically hinting that by the time the Lakers season spiraled, the pressure had turned that locker room uncomfortable. And this is where things get dangerous, because once players feel emotionally disconnected, everything in basketball starts to fall apart fast. Defensive communication starts slipping, trust fades in late-game moments, guys stop rotating with the same urgency, players start worrying more about blame than actually winning. And that Lakers team started looking exactly like that by the end. It was never just injuries or bad shooting. It looked like a group that had stopped believing in the same vision.
I ain't ruined it.
You did ruin it.
I got my own puppet right at home right now. My dog done messed it up, but I still got a puppet at the house, and I'm glad I ruined it because that one ain't right. They pissed our whole team off, and I'm glad we went out there and we showed LeBron and the Cavs that hell no, the puppet gotta go.
Listen to this. A lot of fans now point straight at Russell Westbrook as the guy who caused everything to fall apart. But Dwight's comments are flipping that whole idea upside down, suggesting the real issues went way deeper than just one player. Westbrook just became the easiest target because his mistakes were loud, messy, and impossible to ignore. But chemistry problems? Those are way harder to explain in public. Coaches rarely admit it, superstars avoid speaking about it directly, and front offices definitely don't want that kind of truth leaking out. But give it enough time, and former players always start revealing what really happened behind closed doors. And what makes this even more interesting is how differently LeBron gets described depending on who you ask. Some teammates absolutely love playing with him. They talk about his IQ, leadership, preparation, and how he elevates everyone around him. But others quietly point out how draining it can feel when every season is championship or nothing. Dwight's comments land somewhere in the middle of all that. It doesn't feel like he's attacking LeBron personally, it feels more like he's describing an environment that slowly became mentally exhausting. And if you actually watched that Lakers season closely, you could feel it through the screen. Every loss hit harder than it should have, every timeout looked tense and uncomfortable, and every interview sounded overly controlled, like nobody wanted to say the wrong thing. Compare that to the 2020 Bubble Championship Lakers. That team had real chemistry. They celebrated together, they defended together. Dwight was a big part of that success because everyone accepted their role. There was clarity, there was sacrifice, there was belief. But by the latter Lakers run, everything felt completely different. Veterans were competing for minutes, young players were inconsistent, injuries kept shifting rotations, and the pressure of chasing another title with LeBron at that stage created pure desperation. Dwight saying something felt, honestly, like sums up the entire season perfectly. And another key detail here is how much Dwight has changed publicly over time. Early in his career, people criticized him for being too playful or not serious enough. Later, he got labeled as difficult inside locker rooms. He's spent years pushing back against those narratives, so now when he speaks calmly and reflects on Lakers drama, people listen differently, especially when he brings up moments involving LeBron. That story about confronting LeBron on defense caught everyone off guard because role players rarely challenge superstar leadership like that. But Dwight made it clear he said what he felt, and after that, things changed fast. And that shows just how fragile chemistry can be on stacked veteran teams. This is where a lot of young fans get it wrong. They assume talent automatically equals chemistry. It doesn't. Some of the most talented teams ever still failed because personalities never clicked. Basketball is emotional, and once trust disappears, no amount of talent can save it. And the Lakers are one of the clearest examples of that in recent memory. You can even go back and look at the reactions from fans during that season. Lakers fans were frustrated almost right away. People kept questioning the lineups over and over again, and social media clips of LeBron sitting on the bench looking irritated started going viral every single week. Analysts were constantly debating whether the team truly respected Frank Vogel. Some players reportedly didn't even feel clear about their roles from one night to the next, and slowly, all of that built up until the entire season just fell apart. What Dwight is saying now basically confirms what fans were sensing from the outside was real.
There really was discomfort inside that environment. And once the losses started stacking up, fixing it became almost impossible because the expectations never dropped from championship level. That's the brutal truth about playing alongside LeBron. Second place feels like failure. Losing in the playoffs feels like failure. And even missing the playoffs turns into a full-blown embarrassment that follows everyone involved. And the ironic part is that Dwight actually fully embraced his role during that 2020 championship run. He sacrificed touches, he defended hard, he rebounded, he brought energy every single night. That version of Dwight helped deliver a title. But the later versions of that Lakers team never found that same balance again. Too many players wanted different things. Too many expectations clashed at the same time. Now, fans are trying to decode what Dwight really meant when he said something felt off. Was it leadership, chemistry, ego clashes, trust issues? Probably all of it mixed, because locker room problems are never just one thing. They build slowly through pressure, miscommunication, frustration, and disappointment. And the bigger legacy conversation here is where things get really interesting, because it changes how people will eventually look back at LeBron's Lakers era. The 2020 championship will always matter. Nobody can take that away. But everything after that became more and more unstable. Roster changes, coaching shifts, trade rumors, injuries, public frustration, aging stars, constant pressure. And now, former teammates are slowly opening up about how strange things felt behind the scenes. That doesn't take anything away from LeBron's greatness, but it does show how hard it is to keep a championship culture alive when the pressure never stops. Even all-time legends eventually deal with locker room fatigue around them. We saw it with Kobe. We saw it with Jordan late in his career. And now people are starting to view LeBron's later Lakers years through that same lens. Dwight speaking out also matters because he really has nothing left to prove or protect. He already won a championship. He has already rebuilt his reputation in different ways. Now he's at the stage where former players start telling the truth about what really happened. And those honest reflections usually say more than any polished interview during the season ever could. What fans are reacting to most is just the honesty itself. Dwight isn't pretending everything was perfect. He's not blaming everything on injuries or bad luck. He's pointing towards something deeper emotionally that made the locker room feel off, even before everything collapsed. And if you're a Lakers fan, that's probably tough to hear, because everyone wanted that era to turn into another long-term dynasty around LeBron. Instead, it became one of the most chaotic superstar experiments the league has seen in years. On paper, that roster should have had the entire league on edge. In reality, it looked tired, disconnected, and emotionally drained more often than not. Now the debate is about to flare up all over again. Was LeBron unfairly blamed for everything that went wrong with the Lakers? Or do Dwight Howard's comments actually point to deeper issues with leadership and chemistry inside that group? Because one thing is crystal clear after Dwight finally opened up. Whatever was happening inside that locker room, even the players themselves could feel that something was off from the start.